Hello friends, today we're going to do an overview of the Tales of Imjin War. Now, because it's got Tales of the title, it's obviously something I had to try. This actually is not a JRPG, it's more of a beat-em-up action RPG and hunting game hybrid, which is, I know, a big mess of gaming terms, but this has beat-em-up gameplay, but it also has, like, quests, it has, like, hunting game crafting. So you do level up, unlike, like a Monster Hunter type game, but you do craft a bunch of things, you can make builds and stuff, there's RNG elements. It's actually a pretty good game. I just say the main problem is, well, it's early access for one, and also some aspects of it are very frustrating and feel very half-baked, but I've had a lot of fun playing this. I cleared pretty much all the content in the game currently. They said that they promised to have, I believe, 12 levels, and they have how many in the game right now? They have 5 in the game right now, so they're a little bit under halfway done. So there's multiple difficulties that you can do, so the first time you'll be playing on normal and then you go up to hard. And right now, a lot of the levels don't have very hard yet, so it'll probably be added on later. So before we get into gameplay, I thought I'd explain some of the non-combat stuff in this game. So crafting is pretty interesting because you need a multitude of materials, which is very common for a hunting game. It's very uncommon for a beat-em-up, obviously. So there's a couple ways that this works. You see at the top there, it says obtained items. So those are obtained from your hunts, which is basically just going through the beat-em-up levels. But then at the bottom you see the artifact. The artifact is when you take materials you get from fighting and you turn them into these materials here. So, for instance, to craft this best-in-slot, like, armor for the dual swordsman, which is one of the classes that I main, you would need raw silk. So you go in here, and you can craft them there. Now, I'm not actually going to do it. We're going to craft something at the end of this video, so you guys can see the RNG aspect of it. But sometimes you'll need things from different like, shops. So, like, to make this generic, like, level 1 costume, I would need a blacksmith artifact. So I'd go over to the blacksmith. You see here, I could just make the jade. So if I went back to the other place, then I could craft that item. So actually quite a bit of materials. I'd say the main problem with this game's economy right now is there's a number of things that cause it to be really grindy, and it can feel like you're not really making much progress. You see in the upper right-hand corner, I have like 70,000 gold. The most expensive thing in here costs 350. Now the gold sink, I guess they want these to be a gold sink because they cost quite a bit, but these are one-time use items. They're just like healing potions in any other kind of game, like an elixir or something. The problem is, it's too hard to get the materials because levels in this game that you fight through are anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes long. Now, you can shorten that a little bit if you have like optimized characters, but you're still looking at least 10, 11 minutes. So when you consider to craft one of these, it would probably take about maybe 20, 30 minutes of gameplay. You're never going to run out of money. I feel like one of the things they should do with this game is make it so that there's some kind of trading post. Like, you know, if you have like a higher tier material and you need a lower tier one, and then you could like exchange it for like a multitude of the lower tier one. That way it would prevent you from having to go back and do victory runs on content that you can clear instantly, and still takes a good 5-10 minutes to get through. The economy needs a lot of work. I don't even know if, unless they add some kind of gold sink, if I'll ever be able to use that much money. I've only been playing for 12 hours. It doesn't really feel worth crafting these for one, just because the amount of time it's going to take to craft one of these, you could probably just get through without using it. They definitely don't want you to be spamming consumable items, which is a good thing, but it just feels like the gold and the like the hunting game aspect of the game, where you take materials from your fights, your hunts, or whatever you want to call them, and then you turn them into things to make your character stronger. This feels very disjointed because you're never going to run out of money, but you're always out of materials. And because of how long the levels are, this is not like a mission-based game. It's not like Monster Hunter. You know, sometimes it'll be like, oh, just kill like 3 of these monsters or fight just 2 bosses at the same time. No, it's a straight beat 'em up level every single time you play. So I'd say there's maybe 8 to 10 hours of content in this game. Now, one of the things that's really cool is these are experience books. What you can do is you can actually give these to your alts. Like right now, I have these 2 characters pretty much maxed out, and by the time I get some of the other stuff that I need, they will be maxed out at level 27. Currently, the cap is level 27. They said that they want the cap to be level 50, so we have just about half of the planned levels in the game. At that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give all the experience books to the other characters, because there actually is an element system in this game, meaning that enemies will either resist or be weak towards an element, so it doesn't really have much bearing right now. If you take 2 characters, you're probably going to hit the weakness of at least most of the enemies in any given level, but maybe later on there'll be like maybe shorter levels that you can farm, and it'll probably be more beneficial to have like the actual right element. So with that said, actually, there's also a skill tree in this game. Now, it seems like you can't actually get all of this until the game is complete, so if you do buy this game, I recommend going in here and getting all the stuff in the blue tree, because there's actually some really useful stuff in here. You get the aerial relaunch, and then you get the double jump, which also doubles as a jump cancel. You get some HP, which will help with survivability. You get an air dodge, and then you get 10% attack speed. Now, enemies in this game are... They're not typical beat-em-up enemies. They're more like Streets of Rage 4 on the hardest difficulty, where they're on like some kind of performance-enhancing drugs, and they always hit you at like the most inopportune time. So attack speed is actually really nice to have. Right now, with the game not being complete, it can be actually kind of hard to build MP to use your meter moves, so I didn't really want to go any farther than this. When it's more feasible to cast like level 3 abilities or moves, then maybe you would want to go in here, but right now it does not feel worth it. It's too hard to do meter gain. And then at the bottom here you just have stat gains, which there's no skill reset, there's no respec in this game yet, so you might not want to go in here just yet, but definitely go in here. The skill trees are pretty much the same for everybody. The unique things are up here at the top, which is the B button abilities that you get. So I got the level 1 to the level 2 for both of these characters, and I don't really feel like the level 3 is really worth it, just because it's too hard to meter gain. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can go in here, and I guess there's going to be maybe like maybe smaller missions or something that you can do, but they're blacked out. They don't even tell you what they do, so we'll check back on that after the next update. Alright, so let's get to some gameplay. We're going to go ahead and do the first level here. I think that should be ample enough time to explain everything that's going on in the game.
1590 선착장에는 어선이 불타고 일본군 깃발을 달고 있는 군인이 해안가에 떠 있습니다.
So you have an S string, you have a down attack, which is unique to every character. You have a launcher, and you can jump cancel that if you get the aforementioned ability I talked about earlier. And then you have your special attacks, which take MP. Now you notice in the upper left-hand corner, you see a big E there. That is your kill streak. What that means, if you get a bunch of kills without taking damage, you get like various stat bonuses. I think you get like attack speed and maybe some crit chance or something like that. The problem is the hit stun in this game is pretty out of control, so a lot of times you're gonna get hit once and lose like big chunks of your health, so it feels like that kill streak mechanic is like meant for a different game or something. It's a cool idea, but how much damage you take that you don't always feel like you have control over. I'm not sure how really viable it is to build around it. This game has tag combos. Now it is on a 10-second cooldown. But tagging is not just for combos, it can also be for hitting a certain weakness. Like, a lot of the enemies right now are weak to fire, so this character is pretty useful. You can also use it for healing as well, if you want to share a healing item to somebody, your other character, you can just go ahead and tag them out. You can see they're weak to fire, so a level 1 and a little basic air combo is enough to kind of take them out. So you find food items here. So generally you want to switch to the character that has the least health and kind of rotate through them, since the damage can be unavoidable at times. Like that. Just capped. So the little things you pick up that are like orangish, those are basically your score. And much like an arcade game, you actually can get score-based extends, which is pretty cool. So if you play well, you'll get extends. And the boss fights are not that great for reasons we'll get into once we get there. Definitely can be nice to have extends. Now you also get extends for...
아이에게 어머니를 꼭 구해주겠다고 약속.
Right now. You can also get extends in the skill tree, which
그대가
helps.
숲에 들어서자 비명이 들렸고
And you can also use your
소리가
money
들린
to
방향으로
get
향했다.
continues as well, kind of like an actual arcade beat 'em up. I suppose that would be a gold sink, but really only at the beginning of the game. It's a little weird that this game is not done. It's, you know, maybe like 40% complete by their kind of self-imposed little goals that they have for the game, with planning to have 12 levels when there's only 5 right now. It's weird to be like, have more money than I could spend. And the game has only been in early access for like 4 months. Hopefully they'll add a gold sync later. I think just after you get a certain amount of crafting materials, it should just let you just buy them from like a new NPC. I think that would be the best way to fix it. It's like you still have to play the game, but be like more decision making in terms of how you spend money instead of just having more than you could ever use. So we're gonna tag because this guy likes to block a lot.
일본군 본대가 이동한 곳을 따라서 부산진에 도착했지만 이미 동래성 쪽으로 이동한 후였다. I should mention that I'm running an attack speed build right now, so it's making the game look a lot faster than it will if you decide to go buy this game after watching my overview. Attack speed is actually really good in this game just because the enemies really do attack you in the air. It's not like the DMC reboot, where once you're in the air you're essentially invincible. You're pretty much always taking a risk going into the air, so having faster attack speed is actually a really good thing to build around.
Alright. Almost at the end of the level. This is going pretty fast because I'm basically at the gear and stat cap right now. You like right there. Not Dynasty Warriors peons, folks. They're actual real soldiers. Just got another score extend. Alright, we're gonna give the heal to this character since the boss is resist fire.
농길에 이어진 대나무숲 방향에서 사악한 요기와 함께 피냄새.
I should also mention before this video ends, pretty much as soon as I beat this level, I pretty much have explained most of the gameplay loop. This game works really well on Steam Deck. It's gonna say, I don't know what their term is for, like, we don't know if it runs or not. It runs beautifully. I guess the town in this game is really poorly optimized, so it gives you a false first impression. But as long as you put the game on medium, it's actually pretty much unlocked 60 FPS most of the time. Sometimes it'll drop a few frames, but not enough to really get in the way of gameplay. So, if you're looking for a grindy game to play that runs well on the Steam Deck and is not something you've already put lots of hours into, like Monster Hunter or Neo 2 or something, I can't recommend this enough. I've been playing, probably half of my playtime on this has been on the Steam Deck. Various grind bits that you pick up do not suction to you. So, if you're going for a specific material, one thing that's actually really nice here is it shows you all the things you've gotten so far. So, if you only need like one grind bit to craft something, you can actually just exit, and it will give you all the experience that you've accumulated up to that point. So, that does kind of help with how long the levels are, but not really a solution. You're still gonna have way more money than you can ever use.
도망친 거대한 뱀의 요기를 쫓아 동래성에 당도하였으나 일본군과의 전투는 이미 끝나 없었다. 평평 모습을 하고 있었다. 동네 성안에는 기분 나쁜 요기는
새로 만들어줘.
There's a heal here. Oh no, there's not a heal there actually.
모두 날아가 버려.
Should be a heal up here.
뼈마디를 부타주지.
Alright, so here's the problem with the bosses. You can probably predict what's wrong with them. They're all in hyper armor all the time. Now this boss is fine, in my opinion, because it has very obvious tells for what it's doing. A lot of the other bosses don't. So, it kinda just feels like you trade hits with them. There's no parry or like just dodge or anything in this game, so... And the bosses that have less obvious tells than this one, sometimes it feels like you just kind of... It's like a turn-based game in disguise. However, I found the developers' Discord, and they said that they're gonna make the next boss in the next update be a boss you can combo. I think the hyper armor would be fine if there were more ways to interact with them, but you kind of just do this over and over. Not really a whole lot to it.
뼈마디를 부타주지.
Weird to have a pretty robust combo system with tag cancels and stuff, but then have bosses that just walk through everything. But they did say that they're gonna maybe revise that later on. Alright, so I hit the level cap with the fighter, and the dual swordsman is like one experience book away. So as you can see here, you get ranked. Pretty standard action game fare. I got about 7,000 experience. because this is the current hardest difficulty. You can see all the various grind bits you get here. So these are monster drops from the boss. So if you ever played in literally any hunting game, it's the same thing. It's going to be a random chance if you get the one that you want. And I feel like the main problem with that is that was like a 15-minute level, so it takes quite a bit longer than your average hunting game where you can just target a boss and just fight them right away. Alright, so let's go back to town and explain the rest of the gameplay loop. I've already got best in slot gears, but we're going to craft something as an example. So first, I'm going to go ahead and pop these experience books on this character. There we go, now they're both maxed out. So you can actually use these books on fresh characters. You can use them on a fresh level 1 alt and level them up that way. So if you want to use them on the current endgame content and you don't want to play the game from level 1, you can actually use these on your mains. You can farm them on your mains and then put them on alts. So if we go to the training ground here, you see that I've been working on that quite a bit. I have the swordsman at level 16. I've only played him once because I farmed so many experience books. So you can pick 2 characters and you tag pretty much as you would in any other game. It's just it's got a pretty long cooldown. Alright, so the final part of the gameplay loop is once you get your grind bits of choice, you go ahead and you just craft. And you see here I have enough grind bits to make this. So over on the right hand side, you'll see that there's an RNG element where those are the affixes that it can roll. It can roll 2 different affixes for stats, and then the actual ability affixes. It can roll 2 of those. Now, as you go up here, you can only get 1. So right now, there's quite a bit of RNG because there's 4 affixes on these, and you can roll 2. So getting the exact 2 that you want, depending on what kind of build you're trying to go for, might take a while, but there's not really a whole lot to do right now anyway. So if you want to min-max, you can. For this character, the best thing would be increase the attack speed and then recover MP when attacking with a certain chance. So it's random what you're going to get, so let's go ahead and see. Oh, never mind. What am I missing? That's weird. Why is it not letting me craft that? Oh, I don't have enough of the tails. Alright, well, we'll craft something else. How about that? Let's see what else we got here. I already got a best in slot one on the dual swordsman. Okay, so we'll craft one of these. The stuff on this is honestly not that great. I think this one is probably better overall, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and craft one. So I need raw silk. So we'll make 4 of those. That's actually not bad. The affixes on this one aren't that great, but there you go. So if you don't like what you want, or you don't get what you want, then you can just craft another one and hope for the best. There's also accessories that you can get as well. I really feel like min-maxing is really necessary right now because the game's not finished, but this would essentially be the end game of this. I've pretty much explained the entire gameplay loop, but at this point you can just farm up money, which you won't need. You're mostly going to need grind bits to craft stuff. And if you want to get that, this game actually has a lot of really nice things that you take for granted in hunting games, but you don't expect to have in a beat-em-up. So if I go here and I push Y for details, it will actually show you a full bestiary with all the things they drop. So if there's a grind bit in particular that you need, what you can do is you can just look in here and see what monster and what difficulty and what level it drops on. But yeah, that's the gameplay loop. I feel like the main flaws with this game is the bosses are pretty crappy, honestly. You just kind of trade hits with them. There's not really a lot of really interesting ways you can interact with them because there's no like just guard or parry or anything or just dodge or anything to really interact with them. Also, you could feel like the Avengers game in a way where you just get hit once and it just turns into this downward spiral of being stuck in hit stun for like a really long period of time. So the kill streak mechanic feels kind of half-baked because you might be on a roll for a while, but then you get hit off screen, and then you get hit while you're on the ground, and then your kill streak is back down to 0. I think it should be based on maybe how much damage you take, not just getting hit once. Getting hit once kind of makes that mechanic kind of pointless. And also, the economy is pretty messed up, to be honest with you. Like, you'll have way more money than you can ever use right now, but then the grind bits are mostly just hard to get because of, by proxy, how long the levels are. So, if the levels are 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes each, maybe a little bit more if your characters aren't optimized, you're never going to have enough grind bits to really craft a bunch of things to kind of get through the RNG element of what affixes you're going to get on them, but you'll have more money than you could ever spend, so they really need to add some kind of gold sink, like, hey, if you have like 18 of this high tier grind bit and you want a low tier one, you should be able to just trade them in, or if you have like a certain amount of them, you should be able to trade them for a higher tier material or something, and it should cost like a decent amount of money so that there'll be more of a decision-making process to actually making stuff in this game. It's pretty much, if you have the materials, you can afford it, because you're never going to run out of money. Like right now, I have like 70,000 that I'll never be able to use, and even if I did need to, I have like all this stuff, and you have these coin pouches. Here's another 8,000. Another 8,000, now I'm up to almost 80k. They need to add a gold sink and maybe reduce the RNG, but maybe these things are in place for the eventual end game. But right now, kind of like, on MMO, there's not really an end game yet, the game's not finished. So, I think this game is worth $20. I also think it's one of the best, probably underrated Steam Deck games you can play because it runs perfectly. Just put it in medium settings and don't be too alarmed if the town runs poorly. See, even on my computer, I'm only getting like 90 FPS in town. I guess the town is just really poorly optimized, but once you're in gameplay, the game runs rock solid on the Steam Deck, minus a couple isolated instances, but it's more than playable. I say I played through maybe 70% of the content on the Steam Deck. The game is $20 right now. They just did a major update last month. I went in their Discord and they said that there's going to be a major update, I guess in a few weeks. They said in the middle of April, so they're going to add a new level, which will apparently have a boss that does not have hyper armor, which is cool. Also, there's going to be a level cap expansion and a equipment expansion, so you'll be able to get more grind bits to level up your characters, or kind of build them out and stuff like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks to Claymore007 for introducing this game to me. I kind of had not heard of it somehow. No, I'm usually very on top of beat-em-ups and stuff, but I hadn't heard of this at all. I guess I just didn't have the right tags for me to find it on Steam. I definitely recommend it. It's got its flaws. It can be frustrating. It can be frustrating in some cases. Definitely doesn't feel like the economy and how you progress through the game with the loot and stuff feels very balanced right now. But I'm sure those things will be ironed out in due time. Thanks for watching.